You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Could DK Metcalf end up in Los Angeles with the Chargers? We are going to show you what one NFL coach had to say, predicting that a trade to the City of Angels will happen this offseason, and we'll react to it coming up in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us here on today's program. All week long, we are doing a sub-battle with Chase Sr. and the 49ers report. Now, I know it's the offseason, but we love competition here on the channel. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. We always want to stick it to the Niners. We won more games than them. We won the most recent matchup, and we want to keep on winning throughout the offseason, folks. So, I need you to subscribe. That way we can take down the 49ers report, but also so you can be a part of our daily coverage here. So we're bringing you news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day, live shows, not just once, but now twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays, in addition to our breaking news segments, Q&A mailbags, and more. It's all in one place right here on your one-stop shop, your off-season headquarters for your Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, and we'll get started with today's show. According to a new report from ESPN's Dan Graziano, he spoke to an NFL coach, a coordinator, an anonymous one at that, so they didn't put their name on it, go figure, predicting that the Seahawks will trade DK Metcalf to the LA Chargers. What? Let's hear more from this anonymous NFL coordinator of why he thinks that's going to happen. The Seahawks can still get good value for him, and he could pair it with Ladd McConkey for a good inside-out tandem. Justin Herbert to Metcalf would be scary. I think Los Angeles will be looking to help the quarterback in a big way. Now, I'll say this. When it comes to the LA Chargers, I do believe that they are going to be looking for receiver help. Justin Herbert, outside of Ladd McConkey, didn't have a ton of options to get the football to, and yet their offense was still pretty decent this past year in LA. I do think they are in the receiver market. But even with that said, when it comes to our guy, when you're coming for our guy, DK Metcalf here, Mike Macdonald, as recently as this week, might I add you, made it clear that DK is not going anywhere, that he is a part of the long-term plans for this Seahawks team. So LA might want him. There's a lot of teams, I'm sure, that would love to have DK Metcalf. But I'm telling you right now, he ain't going anywhere, folks. More from Jeremy Fowler saying this with ESPN in regards to DK Metcalf in this situation. Metcalf is still in his prime at age 27 and is a challenge for opposing defensive coordinators. But Jackson Smith and Jigba received more targets than Metcalf among Seattle receivers this season, 8.1 to 7.2 targets per game. And Metcalf, a projected 2026 free agent, likely needs a new contract, which won't be cheap. Now, everybody's talking about JSN, the breakout year he had. 1,100 yards receiving JSN was fantastic. But think about this. I think that people tend to forget that a big reason for JSN's success was the pressure that DK Metcalf was taking off of JSN. And I am of the belief, as is most people, that Tyler Lockett is not coming back because you don't want to take on a $30+ million cap hit. You move on from DK, who the hell are you going to throw the football to? All of a sudden, JSN's got every team trying to lock him down, doing double teams and all that. I think it would be a disaster, potentially, if you break up this pairing of JSN and DK Metcalf. With that said, what could Seattle get in the trade market? This is what I think would be the best-case scenario if Seattle were to trade DK to the LA Chargers. I think you're looking at getting the 55th pick and the 158th pick from the LA Chargers in the best possible circumstance. But we've seen the wide receiver trade market has kind of dwindled in recent years. If you would have traded DK about 2 or 3 years ago, you could have gotten a first-round pick and potentially more. That time has come and gone. That's part of the reason why I'm against trading DK is because you've already missed out on getting your best return on investment here. I think you're kind of stuck with DK, and he needs to be a part of your long-term future. Let's ask you, our pinned comment today, should the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf? I'm going to give you two options here. You can type HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. I'm typing hell no. I don't want to see DK go anywhere. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered, folks. And I got to tell you, I've made some great memories over the years going to NFL playoff games. Got to take my dad to a playoff game a few years ago. And whether you're trying to go to NFL playoff games or maybe it's something in Seattle like seeing the Kraken or another sporting event, concert, theater production, whatever it may be, Game Time has got you covered, folks. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals and great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's the deal you don't want to miss out on. They also have their customize your spot feature, and they have their seat views, so you can see what that seat is potentially like. It's real simple, folks. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. Choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not, and then boom, just like that, you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time offers the lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPRTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks today. All right, let's move on now. Let's shift gears. And I want to break down the pros and the cons of a potential DK Metcalf trade. Let's start with the pros. Number one would be the extra draft capital that you could potentially pick up, and more picks could be very nice to have some young talent on rookie contracts. That'd be potentially a very good thing. Also, trading DK would open up about $10 million in cap space. And it's no secret, Seattle does not have a ton of money to spend at the moment. And they are searching the couch cushions for pennies right now to see if they can find every dollar they can to get through this offseason. Trading DK also would increase the targets for Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jake Bobo, and A.J. Barner. Smith-Njigba, of course, had a fantastic season this year. Jake Bobo got some work to do. A.J. Barner, not a bad rookie campaign himself. You'd get those young guys more involved in the offense. And then lastly, you would also get a good gauge of how good Geno Smith actually is. What is Geno Smith's playing level without having two top-flight receivers in JSN and in DK Metcalf potentially? How good is he? Well, obviously you still have JSN, but you get the idea here, especially if you're trying to figure out Geno's long-term prospects. This could be a good test for how good he potentially actually is. Now, let's go over the cons of a DK Metcalf trade. He's been very consistent. In his 6 years in the NFL, he has had 6 straight 900-yard receiving seasons. He has been the most reliable and dependable player on this Seahawks offense in that stretch. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler as recently as 2023 as well. Pro Bowler in 2020 and in 2023. He was also a second-team All-Pro selection in 2020 as well. So he's got a good track record there among some of the league's best. And you talk about changing up the offense if you don't have DK. He is the only deep passing threat that Seattle has. We've seen JSN has really been a middle-of-the-field possession receiver guy. They haven't really used him to stretch out things as far as that goes. And then we talk about being dependable. He has taken care of himself when it comes to the injury front. He has only missed 3 games in 6 total seasons in Seattle. For me, the cons outweigh the pros for me when it comes to trading DK Metcalf. I think it would be more bad than good to move on from DK. And on top of all of that, of everything I just told you, you don't have an obvious replacement if you move on from DK Metcalf. Now, in theory, you could use one of those draft picks and maybe find DK's replacement. I know that there's been a lot of rumblings about John Schneider being potentially interested in Deebo Samuel and all that, but for me, I just don't think it makes much sense that there's more bad than good of potentially moving on from DK as far as that goes. You look at the numbers for DK Metcalf. We mentioned the seasons that he had of 6 straight 900-yard receiving campaigns. He came just short of 1,000 this year. Had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in 2023 and in 2022. And he's been pretty good about getting in the red zone over the years. You go back to 2021, had 12 touchdowns in that campaign. And from a historical perspective, to put a little context on this, folks, how good has DK Metcalf been? Well, just how good is he? He's in some pretty decent company here, folks. DK is just one of 2 receivers in NFL history with at least 50 catches, 900 yards, and 5 touchdowns in each of his first 6 seasons. You know who the other one to do that was? A guy by the name of Randy Moss. Ever heard of him? Yeah. Now, let's go into perspective of how he stacks up with the rest of the league, though, and what his actual value is. In 2022, DK was 7th in the league in receiving yards. That's the only season of his entire career where he's been ranked in the top 10 in receiving yards as far as that goes. And you compare that to the rest of his time. Let's go through the last 4 seasons for DK one by one here. As in 2021, DK was 27th in total receiving yards. 2022, he was 16th. 2023, he was 18th. And this past season, granted he did miss some games and all that, he was tied for 25th. So you could argue that maybe DK's not worth paying because he hasn't put up the numbers that maybe some of these other guys that are being paid the same money are potentially worth. He won't be cheap to keep. We know that. It would be expensive if you decide to keep DK Metcalf and give him that long-term extension. As of right now, today, Spotrac is projecting that DK is worth about 3 years, $76.5 million at this point in time. And a lot of people out there, a lot of the haters and the losers are saying that DK's overrated, that he's not worth that amount of money. So let's ask you, is DK overrated? I don't think so. I think he's pretty fairly rated. What say you? Weigh in, let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no, if you believe DK is overrated or not. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. For the latest happenings on your favorite team all offseason long, subscribe now to the channel, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.